Just want to kick this video off by saying a massive thank you to everybody who didn't burgle my house while I was away on holiday. Without your lack of stealing all the stuff that I used to make these videos, I wouldn't be able to make these videos. So the fact that this video is out today is it's all thanks to you for not nicking all my stuff. That's the last we're going to talk about the holiday. Home shirts no longer available. That's the second piece of news. Thank you to everybody who bought one of those. We sold over 100 shirts in that most recent run. So fingers crossed, we should be able to do a final run probably when this series comes to an end. There certainly won't be anything for the next couple of months, but once we hit the end point of this series, hopefully we'll be able to do one last run for anyone who's still not managed to get their hands on a home shirt. And third piece of news, the return to Twitch happens today. If you're watching this video when it first comes out, 9 o'clock tonight, twitch.tv/LOLLUJO FM. The Expedition of Gold returns, but in a different form to what it was when I did it on YouTube a year or two back. It's a brand new save. Come and check it out on Twitch, twitch.tv/LOLLUJO FM, 9 o'clock tonight. I'm going to be starting to stream probably 2 or 3 nights a week again. I'm not necessarily going to have a set schedule like I've had in the past, but we are definitely going to be ready to go at 9 o'clock tonight, and hopefully we'll see lots of you over there. Hello and welcome to part 126 of It's Coming Home. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's video, we have a Premier League game against Leicester and the second leg of the League Cup semi-final against Bournemouth. Since you were last with me, it has been a challenging time. I've not won a football match apart from this one against Oxford in the FA Cup. But, I mean, to give that some context, Oxford are in League One and have the Stig in their defence. So scoring 5 goals past them isn't as impressive as it might seem. There's 2 other high points. One was getting a draw against top of the table Manchester United. We're a baffling team, the fact we can do that, but in the same breath lose against Middlesbrough or lose 3-0 against Blackburn. I don't understand us. But we also did really well in the first leg of this League Cup semi-final, getting a 2-2 draw away against Bournemouth, and we're now just a win at home away from a spot at Wembley in a domestic cup final, which is it might be the high point of a season that could ultimately end in relegation, because we are struggling just a little bit. We're currently being kept afloat by our good early season form, but as you can see, we've slipped below the Kev ratio, 20 points from 22 games. We're now only 3 points ahead of 18th place Middlesbrough, and we are having the worst run of form in the history of the football club. You'll know from the last episode, which I had to watch to learn this for myself, we did experiment with other tactics. We have spent some time experimenting with tactics, but as ever, when this kind of thing happens, I start to experiment with tactics, and usually it all goes wrong. I think I've experimented for long enough. We are now back with the diamond that we've been using, which we bought these players around a diamond, and we haven't got money to buy new players. So we're sticking with the diamond for the rest of the season now. We'll either go down swinging or we'll survive. Either of those things are absolutely fine, because we've built this young and hungry team. The signing policy for the last year and a half has always been, let's sign players who can get us promoted from the Championship, and that's still the goal, really. If we go down, we should come back up fairly comfortably, because we've got a much better squad now than we had when we were last down there. And obviously we've secured ourselves financially and whatnot as well. We don't want to get relegated, but it won't be a disaster if we do. The board are still just hoping that we can avoid, or not even avoid, a relegation battle. The board instruction is battle bravely against relegation. If we get relegated, I'm not getting sacked, I hope. But let's not get relegated. Let's turn this form around today against Leicester. And this is the team we're going to put out there to try and turn that form around. Horvat in goal, a back four of Sands, Noble, Van der Horst and Riviere, with Harrison at the base of the midfield, Torres and Bishop in the middle of midfield. What happened there? My voice just disappeared from me. And then Manu in behind, Kano and Adrio up front. Adrio, of course, now a permanent home player after he completed his, I think it was a £750,000 move at the start of the transfer window. He has just stopped scoring goals, though. Ever since we agreed to sign him permanently, he seems to have forgotten how to score goals. He had a very good audition when he was here on loan, and we might have jumped the gun a little early buying him. but hopefully he'll prove me wrong on that today. Look at all these options we've got because we're playing so poorly. Right, let's assertively say we could fall into the relegation zone with a loss here today, so go out there and impress me. I think that is fair. We don't want to fall into the relegation zone. We've been doing very well for like 3 seasons, but this last 2 months of this season has been terrible. This looks like they've got Sas Davies' exotic brother in their team, Sas Petradzi. Was that his name? Manu now trying to conjure something up from the midfield. Has a shot from range. Manu has been getting better and better during this run of poor form. He's probably one of the bright hopes. And realistically, if we do go down, Manu's one of the players who won't be coming down with us. I think he's proven that he is a Premier League quality player. I mean, we knew that when we spent £13 million on him. He was probably not going to be one of the ones who's here long term if we went down. But he's one of the ones who might just be able to keep us up. It's a difficult balance in the squad between bringing in players who are going to be there to help us get back up next year and then bringing in just the 1 or 2 that might just keep us up. Kano chasing down on their defender there, and that's a lovely piece of pressing forward play from Agustin Kano there. It's a lovely goal. Not actually playing as a pressing forward because apparently he can't do it. Well, I beg to differ because this is the definition of pressing forward. He just never gave up there, chasing down against the Leicester defender and then continuing his run and getting there before the goalkeeper. Puts us 1-0 up on 12 minutes, and if we can hold on to this, we're back in line with the Kev ratio, and all of a sudden things are starting to look a little bit more positive again after an utterly miserable run of form. The only problem is, as part of that miserable run of form, we've conceded some joke goals as well, and there's potentially another example. I mean, it is a good strike from Sas Davies' long-lost brother, Eduardo Sas Petrazzi, but I think Horvat's probably at fault here. I don't know if it came off him or came off the post. There was definitely massive movement of the ball. It is straight at Horvat, and he lets it through his hands. I know there's been a couple of comments while I've been away, and I haven't been able to read all the comments while I've been away because obviously there's been a lot of videos. But there's been a little bit of a Kev, is Horvat good enough feeling, and I fully acknowledge Horvat probably isn't good enough. But goalkeeper is one of those positions where it can be very difficult to bring in a decent one. It's somewhere where we've struggled a lot in multiple series over the years, and it's usually the point where we can bring in a good goalkeeper is the point where I can go and spend 30 million quid on one, and I don't think we're at that point yet, although I guess we did spend nearly that on Noble to play in front of the... Perhaps we need to go and find a £30 million goalkeeper. The only problem is £30 million goalkeepers don't want to come and play for us. And I think that's the big problem that we've got. Our scout reports aren't identifying a better keeper. So we're just going to have to make do with what we've got and do what we've always done here at home and try and outscore the opposition. Nothing to lose today. Go out there, give it your best shot. Let's passionately... We can't passionately do that. Let's assertively do that then. I just want them to go out there and try hard the way they always have in the past. The stats for this game show we're not quite as good as Leicester, but we're not a million miles away from them. We're creating chances. We're getting a decent share of the possession. We just need a little bit of luck to go our way. Here's Adrio. He's got Riviere on the overlap. Riviere tries to get the cross in, but doesn't do it. And there's that little bit of not quite getting the luck that we talked about before because Bishop didn't get... The ball just didn't fall kindly to him. But that's a lovely pass from... It's a passionate pass from Bishop. I've forgotten how to commentate on football matches. If you're listening to this in your car, which you shouldn't be because you should be concentrating on driving, but if you are, we did just score a goal. You wouldn't know it from the commentary because I got hung up on poor pronunciation instead. But Kano's just got his second of the game, 7th of the season for him. It's a lovely assist from Bishop, and we find ourselves 2-1 up just after the start of the first half. And Kano's having a very good game. Bishop is having a very good game in midfield, and fingers crossed we can find a way to grab it. This will be our first win. I think this would be our first win in 10 games if we manage to pull this off. And I would love to do it with all you lot watching. Riviere's having a terrible game, but we don't have a right back on the bench, so he's just going to carry on being terrible. Van der Horst also not playing particularly well. I can solve that problem. Legac can come on for him. And then I think we're going to bring on Sir Anthony Harris for Adrio. Adrio's just not playing well today. I don't really want to change what Kano's doing. So Anthony Harris is going to have to play as a pressing forward. I've got Ollie Steer on the bench, who is a pressing forward, but I think I'm slowly getting to the point where I don't necessarily trust Ollie Steer anymore. I wish some of you had mentioned it when I was playing him consistently for a year and a half, but he had that nice little start to the season. Him and Adrio both had a lovely little start to the season, and I think they left us, or left me, in a false sense of security, and neither of them have been scoring goals for ages. Kano's in behind again, trying to finish off his hat-trick, does end up winning the corner. Leicester are cheating by bringing a wonder kid off the bench with 15 minutes to go. That we're not competing on that level yet. We don't have wonder kids to bring off the bench. Bishop finds Legac. Legac needs to remember he's playing as a centre-back and get back. And Rivier's having an utterly terrible game. But we just don't have anyone to bring on from. Gregson's actually on the transfer list at the moment on his own request because he doesn't get any game time. But I don't know, perhaps this performance from Riviere is an argument for giving Gregson a little bit of game time. But it's a big call to make going into a domestic semi-final that we've actually got a chance in, especially if we can pull off a win in this game, because this is going to be a massive confidence booster. This would be 2 wins on the bounce in all competitions. Maybe that Oxford game is exactly what we needed, a little confidence boosting 5-0 win, and we just got to hold on. But I've seen us throw games away. I've sat here and played through the last half dozen games this morning deliberately so that I could remember who my players were coming back from 10 games and not opening the save. And the amount of late goals I've seen have been hideous. And I don't want to see more of them now. Bishop to Riviere, trying to redeem himself. Cross comes in, falls to Bishop. Bishop deserves a goal today, but he finds Traore. There's Torres, and Torres scores. And that puts the game beyond doubt with 45 seconds to go. Jonathan Torres puts us 3-1 up against Leicester, and this result is massive. It puts us back in line with the Kev ratio. It brings us back. It feels like we're coming back to life after 2 months of looking like absolute certainties for relegation. We're in a position where we're back in line with the Kev ratio and 1 match away from a final at Wembley. This season could have a whole new spin on it by the end of this video. Traore now, we're all over Leicester at this point. Leicester don't know what's hit them. They're like 10 points above us in the league. They don't understand how they're the team that have had to feel our wrath after we've been so poor for so long. But Bishop, again, Bishop's been instrumental. That was poor though. And I'd like to see the final whistle. Now, we don't need Leicester to score a late goal. I know we'll still win. They're not going to score twice, but we just don't need to see them score once. Let's just feel a little bit confident going into this next game, and hopefully we do. That was superb. Let's passionately say, yes, well done, gentlemen. We had been written off today. I was kind of writing us off today, and hopefully we can go and beat Bournemouth now and book a spot. Just one change for the Bournemouth game then. Eager to squeeze Samuel back into the team. He's just one of our best players. We've got to get him into the team for a big game like this. But Torres had a great game, so I've dropped Torres back there. I'm so tempted to do this. In fact, I am going to do this. And who cares what the consequences... I mean, we all care a little bit what the consequences are. Let's get him attacking. Let's get you... What can you do? Maybe this isn't going to work. Too many playmakers, that's the problem. Right, you be a Mezzala. Do that. Right, there you go. We're gonna go old school and do a 4-3-1-2 tactical change for the Big Cup semi-final. But we've got 3 very good central midfielders, and Harrison not quite as good at the base of the midfield, I don't think, for a big game like this. And it's a game we have to win. Let's get our 3 good central midfielders all in the team and cross everything. This could be a really stupid decision I've just made, especially as we've just come off the back. I've had my lunch in between these 2 games. It's like an hour and a half since I played the last match. It's just occurring to me now, I've pressed submit, that we've won our last 2 games after a huge long run without a win. And my response off the back of 2 wins is to change the tactic. Not massively, but it has changed a little bit. Perhaps I should have just left things as they were. It's snowing here at Stadium MK as well. What an absolutely delightful scene for us to potentially book our first ever domestic proper final. Obviously, we have won the FA Trophy before, but the FA Trophy isn't quite as prestigious as the League Cup. I think they're fairly close in real life, but in game, the League Cup is quite a big deal. Samuel, back to Torres. Torres out to Sands. I don't remember the last time I saw Snow. Kano! And it's just wide. Opening the scoring there would have been delicious, but 'twas not to be. Do away goals count in this tournament? I probably ask this every FM when we have that 1 year where we do quite well in the League Cup, and then from then on we don't focus on it anymore and just play the reserves. But you always reach this point of every Football Manager save where actually winning the League Cup right now in the evolution of this football club would be quite nice, and we very quickly move past this point and don't even want to play in it anymore and never really have to worry about it. But yeah, do away goals count, because we've got 2 of them at the moment and Bournemouth have none. So are we currently ahead in the tie, or do we have to win them? I mean, we should probably try and win the match anyway, but it would be nice to know that we're ahead in the tie, albeit just for a moment, because they've just gone ahead. Offside, anybody? I mean, that feels very offside. No one? It's minus 7 degrees in Milton Keynes tonight for this football match. That feels really uncivilised to play football in these conditions. Was he offside? I feel like he's offside there. I'm going to have a moan about that in the press conference after this match if things don't go our way. Let's have 10 minutes of passion and maybe bring Harrison on at half-time and go back to the diamond that had been working. Riviere, big cross from deep. There's nobody there, but it falls to Samuel. Samuel hits the post. That's what we brought Samuel back into the team to do, to get in positions like that and be a goal threat, which I was going to say the midfield with Torres in doesn't quite do, but of course Torres did score in the last game. So clearly talking out of the rear part of my trousers when I say that. So we need to come up with a plan in this second half that we're not in yet. Let's equalise before half time. We've actually had the better of the game. Looking at the stats, I do feel a little bit hard done by, although in the traditional sense of the word, if we were doing anything but losing, we'd be mugging them. Kano's in from a lovely ball from Bishop again, but they can't quite repeat the trick they did a couple of times in the last league game. But Bishop is getting into some lovely positions to create chances for him. Riviere with the cross now. It falls to Samuel. Samuel finds Sands in lots of space. Sands with the cross to Adrio, and Adrio does grab the equaliser just before half-time. His 15th goal of the season. Sands with a lovely cross from the left-hand side. Remember, Sands is a centre-back. He will end up being a long-term starting centre-back for us. We don't really have another option at left-back at the moment. We've got about £3 million to spend. We've just sold Boyle, our backup goalkeeper, and I'm going to try and reinvest the money in a left-back that we might have for the next episode. But for the time being, Sands is really getting quite good at the role, playing as a wing-back. It's going to be good for his future career, having played half a season as a left wing-back. He'll know what's going on around the sides of him when he plays the rest of his career at centre-back. There's logic there. Right, let's passionately Bournemouth. Come on, we've got a half of football to get revenge for whatever happened last time. We drew with them last time in the first leg of this match. In fact, I think we might have even lost to them in the Premier League since then, so perhaps we do owe them from last time. But more importantly, we're this close to Wembley. If we do end up falling short, goodness me if we come close. 30 minutes to go over a 2-leg tie, and it's still level. And if away goals are a thing, we're still ahead in the tie. I don't think they are, though, because there's no little A next to us to show that we're ahead. So I think we do need to go and try and win the game. Samuel's not playing very well at all, so it seems pretty simple to just switch back to the actual normal version of this tactic and do that. And then we're also going to make a change. Kano's going to come off. Traore can come on up front. Lots of options up front. Harris and Steer were both there as options as well. But Traore has started to play quite well when he's come off the bench in recent matches. He's actually getting to the point where he's starting to push for a starting spot. Here's Torres winning the ball back. Plays it forward to Adrio, who can't quite nip past his man with it. If he'd have got in behind there, Traore's waiting in the middle, and you'd have to be feeling pretty confident for us to be going into the last 15 minutes in this tie ahead. But it is Bournemouth in the position to attack. Noble comes across covering. That was a pretty meaty pass back to Horvat, who did deal with it quite well in the end. That had yet another hideous late goal written all over it, but we got away with it a little bit. And now with 10 minutes to go, let's make another substitution. Manu's not playing very well. Sir Anthony Harris can come on. Traore can drop back and play in that role. He's done that quite a lot when he's come off the bench as well. One of the benefits of Traore, that he can play in both of those positions. And it does get Sir Anthony Harris onto the pitch to potentially book us a spot at Wembley. And what better man to do it? Harris with the cross. Traore playing a little bit deeper now. Finds Riviere. Riviere with the cross. It's Sir Anthony Harris. Harris again. Adrio's there and scores. I really wanted it to be Harris, but I don't care if it's Adrio, because with 2 minutes to go, we're 2-1 up on the night, 4-3 up on aggregate, and we are 2 minutes from Wembley in a domestic final. And we'll not even mention this yet. Quite close to European qualification, which would be a massive next step forward for home. Goodness me, did I want that to be Harris, but Harris instrumental in making it. And now we just need to hold on for the last 30 seconds. Riviere back to Harrison, to Bishop. Bishop finds Harrison again, sort of. Harrison back to Van der Horst. Just get the ball forward. We don't want to be messing around with it here. Get it up with Harris to run with. Torres in lots of space. Just wait for someone to find you. It's exactly what he does. It's a terrible pass, but Sands is clapping it because it doesn't matter, because it got the ball out of play. We've won the match. We're going to Wembley, boys and girls. Passionately, we have all dreamt of playing in the final. We could be on the verge of a first piece of actual significant real life big boy grown up silverware. Home book Wembley Place. I don't know who we're going to be playing there. Let's give Adrio. I mean, he's been brilliant in that match. 2 goals. Do we know who we're playing yet? We've got Arsenal in the FA Cup. We don't know who we've got in the League Cup final. Who's the other match? So it's going to be us against either Norwich or Manchester United. Now, Norwich are in the Championship. Manchester United, we've just held to a draw in the league, but they are top of the league. The question now is, if we do play Manchester United and they qualify for the Europa, and I ask this every year as well, I should start remembering the answer. If we lose to Manchester United in the final, do we get into the Europa League as runners-up in this? I don't think we do. I think you lot have answered that question many times in the past. But I think that probably has to be tomorrow's episode. We'll do the League Cup final and then, I guess, Burnley. League Cup Wembley tomorrow. Oh my word. Home Cup win. Exactly. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. Remember, now in the 4 o'clock slot for this series until the end. Now, this is the series here on the channel. Come along and join in the fun on Twitch tonight as well. If you are gagging for a second bit of Kev on your daily routine, now Non-League to Legend is gone. And thank you very much for watching.